well, if that happens, then that's going to happen, then that's going to happen, then that's going to happen. And it's all bad. And we're going to end up homeless and starving and die, on the street. Really? Because you're running late for an appointment?
The right conversation can change everything. This is Mirror Talk, Soulful Conversations.
Welcome back to Mirror Talk, Soulful Conversations, where we explore the stories, wisdom, and the truth that awakens our souls. After decades of success in business and invention, she embraced her gifts, using them now to help people around the world find peace in the mysteries of life and death. Welcome to the show, Julie. How are you doing?
I'm terrific. Thanks, Toby. I'm so thrilled to be here with you.
Thank you so much for joining me for Soulful Conversation. I'm looking so much forward to learning about you, about what you do. But before we go into all the questions I have prepared about being a radiant bridge between the seen and unseen world and all of that, I would love us to play a quick game of wildcards, just to get to know you through, random questions. So our first level, yes, our first level is our first level is going to be the icebreakers, and I picked the card randomly already. Okay, and the question is:
sometimes you do not need another episode. You need the right moment, the right voice, the right truth for where you are right now. Ask Mirror Talk is a space where you can bring real questions, honest feelings, and the life moments you are navigating. When you ask, you are not met with generic advice or surface-level answers. You are met with insights drawn from real conversations, lived wisdom, and powerful moments from the Mirror Talk podcast. Whether you are questioning, growing, searching, or feeling stuck, this tool helps guide you to reflections, sound bites, and specific episodes that speak directly to what you are experiencing. This is not about fixing you. It is about meeting you. Ask what is on your heart. Mirror Talk will reflect back what may help you see more clearly.
what is your biggest insecurity?
Biggest insecurity. I've worked really hard. I'm in my mid-60s on my insecurities. So what's my biggest insecurity at this point? Technical things, like when my computer doesn't work, or when my phone isn't working, or when some kind of technology isn't working. I'm a very patient woman, except when technology isn't working, like my scanner's not working, because it always happens when I need it right now. And so that would be my biggest insecurity, that I'm not going to be able to figure it out without help. And so my husband, I'll call him and I'll say, honey, my computer's not working. He'd say, did you reboot it? And I say, no, I don't think that's it. He goes, just reboot it. And I do. And then it works.
And it works.
So that would probably be it. My lack of technological acumen.
I mean, it happens to the best of us. Sometimes rebooting just helps. Sometimes I tell myself the same thing. So when it's not working, just reboot it first of all and see.
I can hear my husband in my head, Toby, going, when in doubt, reboot.
Reboot. Even in life, reboot.
It's true. Yeah, you're right.
That's a message. Are you ready for the next question?
Yes, sir.
So, wow, this is a good one. This is our confessions level. And the question is, what was the happiest point in your life? Or
the happiest point?
Yes, happiest.
When my son was born in 1992.
That's sweet.
Yeah, I can remember. Actually, I was thinking about this a few days ago, Toby, and I can remember the night he was born. I wasn't even in the hospital 24 hours, because back then, you'd have the baby and they'd kick you out in 92. Seriously. So I had him at 3:30 in the afternoon and I left at 9:00 the next morning.
Wow. So
I wasn't even in there 24 hours. And I remember holding him the night he was born and just saying, I will do everything in my power to give you an amazing life and let you know how loved you are.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. I'm getting weepy just thinking about it.
Yeah. I'm sure he's very happy and proud and lucky to have you as a mother. Yeah. That's awesome.
Thank you. I feel the same about him, and he's my only one. I have stepchildren and step grandchildren, and I love them, but he's my only one. So I call him the center of the universe, and I tell him that I reached perfection the first time, so I didn't need to have any more kids.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks so much for that. I love that so much. Are you ready for the last question, wildcard question, which is from our Getting Deep?
Yeah.
The question I pulled up is something you are really passionate about but don't tell anyone?
Hallmark movies.
Oh, okay.
I love Hallmark movies because they're always, I especially love the ones that are overseas from America. I get to see Ireland and England and, wherever, Japan or wherever, when they film them in other countries. And it's always, the arc is always the same. People go, oh, how can you watch this? The stories are all the same. They have like 4 scripts that they repeat, but they're fast. They're an hour. They're uplifting. They're always a happy ending. And I know when the girl's getting kissed, it's all good.
It's all good. Yeah. She's going to get married at the end.
I love Hallmark movies.
Yeah. Very easy to watch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And especially the ones that are filmed overseas, the scenery is fabulous. They go, oh, they're low budget. I don't care. I don't need a bunch of stuff blowing up and car crashes and stuff like that. I want it to be, at least an interesting story. And I find that the scenery itself is usually really interesting.
Yes.
And you know what? They bring in a lot of spirituality stuff. Like there's ghosts in a lot of the castles that, the regular girl meets the prince. And there's a lot of past life stuff where characters coming through from a past life. And there are a lot of talking with spirits stuff. There's a lot of spiritual stuff in those movies that they're making.
Yeah. And would you confirm they are true or they're just fictional? I mean, when you watch this,
they're all scripts. Nah, they're all fictional. But the interesting thing is that the person who's writing the script, the screenwriter, has to have some knowledge of that, of the what I call the woo-woo space, Toby. And furthermore, those movies obviously do well, or they wouldn't continue to make the same ones in that genre.
Yeah, I guess people connect with them in some ways and watch them.
I think I've seen 3 past life movies in the past couple of weeks. Like at the end of the day, my husband and I'll watch one because I don't have time to watch a bunch of TV, but they're all somebody coming from the past and, and meeting their love and all of that. But that's still woo-woo. Time travel. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much for playing the wild card game with us. It gives us the opportunity to know you through questions that, are just random and we don't prepare for, plan for. Actually, that's good.
Yeah, great idea.
Yes. One of the reasons why I really want to speak with you is because your journey from a successful corporate inventor to a renowned medical intuitive is extraordinary. I mean, it's one in a billion or in a trillion. So I want you to take us back to the moment you first realized your intuitive gifts and what they meant to you and how they guided or they're guiding your life work right now.
I never realized that I had any gifts. I learned how to do all of this stuff, Toby, and I teach people all over the world how to do it. We all come in with the ability. It's just a matter of developing and enhancing it. We've all had times in our lives where we think of somebody and then they call us or they email us or they text us or we run into them and we say, oh my goodness, I was just thinking of you yesterday. I talked to a girlfriend this morning and she was telling me that she was bringing me flowers because I was in the hospital. I'm going to have some foot surgery later in the year. She said, yesterday I had a dream of bringing you flowers in the hospital. And I said, well, that's because I just scheduled my bunionectomy. I'm going to get my bunion fixed.
Oh, wow.
And she said, oh my gosh. And, we think, well, what a coincidence. That's not a coincidence. That's psychic ability. And we're all healers too, Toby, because think about most of us have had the experience in our lives, either where we've done it or we've had it done to us, where let's say we have a child around us who falls and skins their knee and we put them on our lap and we're hugging them and drying their tears and kissing their boo-boos, their injuries. And then they get up and they go play some more within a couple of minutes. Well, that's being a healer. And if we haven't done that ourselves, we've had that done to us by a parent or a grandparent or somebody else that when we're upset about something, especially as a little child, they comfort us, or even as adults, we comfort each other. So we're all healers. We're all intuitives. We all have the ability. It's just a matter of developing it and then enhancing it. It's laying those neural pathways in the brain, kind of like throwing a basketball. or a football. Everybody can throw a football, but you're not going to be really good at it until you really do it a lot.
Yeah. I like what you said about, learning it. Like we all have it in us, basically. It's embedded in our being. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
my
yeah.
question is, how do we get in touch with it? How do I get in touch with my intuition? How do I, train myself to, be much more intuitive?
Well, when you have a thought that comes into your head and it's something about taking action, like get out of the road before the truck runs you over kind of
Mm.
thing. Well, it's that first thing that comes in your head. Our heads are like big satellite dishes, Toby, and they receive and they transmit frequencies. Every spirit has a frequency that they keep throughout all their lifetimes, and every thought has a frequency too. So new meaning for artificial intelligence, certainly, but think of it as attention intention. So you can connect with any spirit. Just think of them. That tunes your satellite dish head to their frequency. It's like tuning your radio or your satellite TV dish to a certain channel. And then that opens up a two-way communication and you say something, either a question or a thought, and it's all telepathic. So it's all going to feel like a thought in your head. And it doesn't matter whether the spirit's attached to a body or not. It doesn't matter whether you ever knew the person. You want to talk to your dead grandfather? You want to talk to Elvis? You want to talk to Moses? Who do you want to talk to? It doesn't matter. You think of them, and then that communication is open. And then the key is when a thought comes in, as long as it feels neutral or good, the first thing that comes in your head, fast as you can snap your fingers, that's spirit communicating with you. And sometimes they'll answer you before your thought is even finished being thought, if you will, because time doesn't exist in the spirit world. Time's a human creation. So they've already got your thought and they're responding before sometimes you're even finished thinking that thought. If the thought that you get first thing is bad, feels bad, then that's your brain. That's not spirit. Spirit's pure love. Spirit's always gonna send you information that's either neutral or feels good.
So that's where we can also filter it and say, okay, this is from my brain or this is from the spirits. Yeah.
Right. All spirits are pure love.
Could you also be there sending maybe warning signals, like if danger is coming up? I mean, that could be interpreted as a bad message also, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, no, but I mean, let me clarify that. Spirit's never going to say, you're just an ugly man who drools.
Oh, okay.
That's not going to happen. They're never going to say anything abusive or hurtful or anything like that. If you get out of the road, that's a warning. That doesn't feel bad. That's like take action versus, you just a mean, nasty person. That's never going to come in from spirit. That's going to be your brain.
Yes. I love that.
And we all do it. We just don't realize it. We're all doing it all day long. And most of us, when we don't follow our intuition, we usually regret it.
That's very true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what, I've learned this on this journey of this podcast also, like, connecting with your intuition, connecting with your inner self, your inner being, and, listening, to the inner voice. But sometimes we also have to, like you said, differentiate between your brain and what the spirit is saying, like be able to know, be able to discern what is what and which one to ignore or which one to take actions on. I like what you said about, I would just imagine when you talking about it, basically, like I imagine all of us walking in with antennas up, receiving signals everywhere. And we have to learn to always keep our antennas up and sharp and alert so that we could receive signals and messages.
Well, yeah, when that AI, that attention intention thing, but think about satellite TV. They're broadcasting who knows how many hundreds or thousands of shows simultaneously. And it's where our channel is tuned that's going to determine what show we're going to receive. Same with our thoughts. When our vibrational level is high and attention intention, you want to talk to your dead grandmother, that's curiosity. So that's going to raise your vibrational level instantly. You just think of grandma. And then that tunes your satellite dish head to grandma's frequency, regardless of if grandma's reincarnated or not. It doesn't matter because we're talking with grandma's spirit. Likewise, that's what I do in what I call my buffet of psychicness. I say I'm a businesswoman and an inventor who learned how to do woo-woo, and I'm a buffet of psychicness. So once you connect with spirit, you can do it all. We can talk to a deceased loved one. I can scan your cat. I can see inside your body with your permission. I'm like a human MRI and facilitate healings. We do past life stuff. I can tell how close to death somebody is. We can talk to spirit guides, angels, whomever. So the work that I do and that my graduates do is we're connecting with spirit. And as I mentioned earlier, Toby, it doesn't matter whether that spirit's attached to a body or not. If the spirit's in heaven or if I'm scanning somebody's body, like let's say I'm going to scan your body, you're in Germany, I'm in the southern part of the US. Well, it's my spirit talking to your spirit, and your spirit's obviously very connected to your body. So it doesn't matter, whether the spirit is in heaven or having the human experience or an experience on a galaxy far, far away. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, doesn't matter. And when you talk about medical intuition, how does that actually work?
Yeah. Well, I raised my vibrational level to the level of spirit, again, what we were just talking about, because spirit vibrates very fast, Toby, because it doesn't have a body. And the body brings down the vibration level just because it's dense. Imagine trying to run an electrical current through a bowl of pudding. That's going to be tough, right?
Yeah, that's good.
The density of the pudding. So attention, intention. I want to scan Susie May's body, and Susie May lives in wherever, Mississippi in the United States, in the southern part of the United States. So I raise my vibrational level to the level of spirit, and then I watch a laser beam in my mind's eye go hook into Susie May. And then I have a hologram of her in my mind's eye, and it's as if I'm looking at an X-ray or a CT scan or an MRI. Something's identified immediately thereafter. There's some type of energetic healing that happens, and it happens very fast. And so some will be identified, they'll be healing. Some will be identified, they'll be healing. And I'm very descriptive with my clients, Toby, about what I'm seeing in my mind's eye and feeling and sensing. And I get what I call divine downloads into my head, where it's spirit working through me and with me to help that person heal themselves. Because nobody ever heals anybody else, ever. No doctor, no medical provider, no healer, no shaman, nobody. Think about this. You cut your leg, you go to the hospital, they stitch it up. Well, the doctor doesn't make your skin grow back. You make your own skin grow back. That doctor's helping you heal yourself. It's the same with all healing. And so I describe to them what's going on, which helps them integrate the healing into their bodies, because the body's going to follow what the brain's showing it. Think of a time when you watched a scary movie or a sad movie and your heart was beating and maybe you were teary and you're thinking, this is pretend, it's animated, and here I am crying at this movie. What's up with that? But your body's going to follow what your brain's showing it. So the healings happen on the energetic level, Toby, and then they integrate into somebody's body. And that can be instantly. It can take days, weeks, months, may need some kind of complementary care like change in diet, physical therapy, surgery, whatever. But certainly it's always our spirit's prerogative to utilize the healing in a way that best facilitates whatever it is we're exploring. It's really fascinating. What the work that I and my graduates do is part of the healing equation. Eastern medicine, Western medicine, homeopathic medicine, herbal medicine, energy medicine. It's all part of that healing equation, all part of the puzzle to help people heal.
Yeah, wow. I like what you said. I'm going to take that with me also. Our body reacts to what our brain is showing it. And that's the same way this kind of healing works. I mean, we have the ability to heal ourselves, and it depends on our frequencies tuned, or what is tuned. Is it high enough for healing, or is it low and needs to be, increased to the level of love, level of healing?
It's fascinating, and it really appeals to my inventor brain, because I see healings, as I mentioned, in a bunch of different ways, and sometimes they're really funny. Spirit's hilarious. And so I may say, Toby, your elbow looks like a bowl of whipped cream, or something crazy like that. But it's to give us a human frame of reference for the energy healing that's happening, because we don't have a frame of reference for that. We haven't seen it. And furthermore, you think about it, when you got it cut, say on your leg again, you don't see a cell join another cell and another cell and another cell. And then it over time creates the epidermis, and then it creates the dermis, and it creates a scab. We don't see that happen, but we see the outcome. So it's the exact same kind of thing. We think we know how it works, but we really don't, even in Western medicine. I mean, if you have surgery, anesthesiologists don't know how general anesthesia works. They have no clue, but they know it works. And think of all the people around the world that are having surgery every day with general anesthesia. You ask an anesthesiologist, you say, how does this stuff work? And they'll say, we really don't know. We just know that it does. Well,
Serious.
frightening, right?
Yeah, that's
Kinda like,
frightening. Yeah, like, oh my God, please know
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, when we're talking right now, just having, some reflections in my head, because I'm a Christian, and, reading through the Bible, we hear about, angels coming down to earth, visiting, end of old in the Old Testament, for example. And we're talking about, healing right now. There was like healing done by angels too. You talked about high frequency. Most of those people that are visited were like, people of high frequency, people that are living according to the will of God, and, doing the things that God loves. So I believe they were, they are having high frequency, there's high energy that could attract the visitation of angels and all of that. And that makes me think about your book also, Angelic Attendant. So I was like trying to connect all of that together, but I want you to shine some light on that. Like, what is angelic attendant? What does that mean?
Well, when we die, we're all surrounded by angels and the spirits of deceased loved ones and pets. And there's university-based research, Toby, that says 90% of people at the end of their lives can see and communicate with their deceased loved ones who are around them in their room. And remember, time doesn't exist in the spirit world. So regardless of how somebody dies, whether it's instantly, like in the case of a homicide or suicide, or whether it's over a prolonged period of time, days, weeks, months, even years, we're all surrounded by angels and the spirits of deceased loved ones and pets, which really brings a lot of comfort to families who can't be with their loved one when they pass. Certainly during the pandemic, a lot of hospitals were shut down and nursing homes. People couldn't go be with their loved ones at the end of their lives, or people who are in the military and die, serving, or somebody who dies in their sleep. And we agonize over, oh, they were alone when they passed. Well, no, they weren't. They were surrounded by angels. So what I have come up with is what I call the 12 phases of transition. And it's how this unfolds over a period of time. What are the positions that the angels and the loved ones and the spirits are in? What happens during that time as the person is in the dying phase? I've found, Toby, that there's lots of information out there about the afterlife and about near-death experiences and grieving, but not much information about what happens when somebody's dying. And so that's what angelic attendance is about. We even have diagrams in here to show you how the angels and the loved ones' spirits are positioned.
Oh, yeah.
So it makes it really easy. Anybody wants a free copy as a gift from Toby and me today?
Yes.
Just go to julieryangift.com and we'll send you a free digital and audiobook download. And we have it in Spanish too, if anybody would like it in Spanish.
julieryangift.com. Place the link in the show notes of the episode for anyone who's interested in getting a free copy of the book. Thank you so much for that.
You bet. I think this stuff should be taught because everybody's so afraid. Are we going to fly or are we going to fry? Everybody goes to heaven. And the other thing too, Toby, is that when we're all going to lose a loved one, whether that be a parent or a grandparent or a friend or whomever, and we're all going to be there ourselves one day. And so what I've found over the years is when we're with a loved one who's in the dying phases, we're thinking, whether we're cognizant of it or not, we're thinking, I'm going to be there one day. I wonder what's going on. And this really helps with the situation. When I was writing the book, a couple of nuances, if I may share them about this. Yes. When I was writing the book, the first time I saw this transpire was with my own mother when she was dying in 2002. And on one hand, my heart was breaking because she was dying. On the other hand, I was watching all this glorious stuff unfold in her room with these angels and loved ones' spirits who I haven't seen in 30 years since they died. And they were all in the room. And so after she passed, when I was writing Angelic Attendants, I thought, okay, there's this prayer said at the end of every Roman Catholic funeral, and it's called In Paradisum. And in Latin, translated to English, it's into paradise. And it talks about how the angels and your loved ones will greet you and lead you into paradise. And I thought, all right, where'd that originate? Because that's what I saw happen with my mother. And I've seen it thousands of times since. And what I learned, Toby, was it began as a 5th century Gregorian chant. So I have to believe that maybe it took till the 5th century till somebody was well educated enough that they could read and write. And certainly those people were men living in monasteries and synagogues. They were the monks. They were the scribes. And somebody just wrote that down. And it fascinates me when that happens. Another thing that happens around about phase 5, the spirit exits the body and it looks like a bubble hanging onto the top of the head. Looks like a cartoon speech bubble.
Yes.
And then the spirits are coming in and the angels and all that. Well, about phase 5, there are 2 extra angels that show up on either side of the spirit bubble. That's what I call it. And when I saw that with my mom, I thought, this is going to be interesting. Wonder what they're going to do. I knew they'd play a role, but I didn't know what was going to happen. And after phase 9, between phase 9 and phase 10, their wings start to move. These 2 angels on either side of the spirit bubble. And it reminded me of a giant owl. If you've ever seen an owl fly, their wing movement is slow, rhythmic, silent, and you can almost feel the drag that's being created by their giant wings moving. So as my mother was getting closer and closer to her departure to heaven, this movement of these angels' wings caused a vortex to form above my mother's head. And I could feel the suction going up. It reminded me of being in a car wash at the end when you drive through and they turn the dryer on and it's sucking all the water off your car.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I bet that's how her spirit's going to separate from her body. And that's exactly what happened. And then the angels escorted her spirit to heaven. So again, when I was writing Angelic Attendants, I was led to research owl wings vortex. Come to find out, there's this aeronautical engineering phenomenon that happens with every jet, every plane, every bird, every bug, everything that flies, the way the air goes over and under the wings and they meet, it causes a vortex, which causes lift. You talk to any pilot and they know all about the wingtip vortex. If you do an internet search on that, there are thousands of illustrations and articles and information about the wingtip vortex. So I thought, okay, that's really remarkable because the angel's wings movement caused this vortex that I could see, I could feel, could hear, and it caused my mother's spirit and every other spirit to go through it, to detach from the body, and then it's escorted to heaven. And I thought, I love it when science catches up with woo-woo, because woo-woo's been around a whole lot longer.
Yeah. I think spirituality is centuries ahead of what science has discovered today. Light years ahead of what our science has discovered is there. And that's why it's interesting to be in the science field, because there's always something new to discover, a mystery to unfold and all of that. And it's always ongoing, basically. And we can never unfold all the mysteries in this world.
Yeah. One more point about the 12 phases, and then it's a fun story how the book came about, if you want me to share that in a little bit. Yeah. I was speaking at a conference and I said, I don't know why, but the spirit always goes up and to the right, always, as I'm looking at the person who's dying. And this man came up after my talk and he said, I know why the spirit goes to the right. And I said, okay, please inform me. And he said, I'm a physicist. And he said, I'm a professor and I teach physics. He said, if you're screwing on the lid to a jar, what do? You turn it clockwise.
Yes.
Right? To get it to go down. He said, when you want to lift the lid, you turn it counterclockwise to the left and you bring it up and to the right to bring it off, to make it come up. And I thought, bingo. All right, that makes total sense. So again, there are explanations for all of this stuff. And I get really excited when I hear them.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. So all these phases are explained in your book also, right? Like we could look
Yeah.
at the book too.
Yeah. And every animal's there. If the person grew up on a farm, I'll say, now, did your grandmother grow up on a farm or does she live on a farm now? And the family will say, yeah, how'd you know that? And I'll say, well, there's cows and horses and chicks and lambs and goats and pigs and, farm animals their spirits are in the room. And then when I start describing them to the family, like the dogs and the horses and all of that, they'll say, yeah, that was, Chestnut or horse, and that was Frisky, her dog. And it's really interesting. Yeah. And it gives the family comfort because they know that all these loved ones are there. I call them the Welcome to Heaven committee. They're all there to welcome the person coming to heaven. And the other thing is, it gives the family comfort, as I mentioned before, because they're surrounded by angels and all these spirits of loved ones. And I don't know the family. There's no way that I would have known that grandma had a collie dog when she was 5. That was long before I was ever born. So it's really fun. It gives them a lot of comfort knowing that, all right, there is more to the story here. And grandma's not hallucinating. Grandma can actually see her mother, who's been dead for 50 years, and she can communicate with her. It really provides a lot of comfort.
Yeah. I can't believe that. Yeah, I mean, that's very mind-blowing. And I mean, it's very deep also, I would say. It's working with spirit and people on their deathbed, for example. What are some lessons that you've learned from communicating with them?
All spirits are pure love. Everybody goes to heaven. There was a movie out in the 1980s, Toby, called All Dogs Go to Heaven. Well, all people go to heaven too. I've never seen St. Peter at the pearly gates with a clipboard going, yeah, you're allowed in. No, you got to go burn for eternity. That's all been fabricated by man to control the masses with fear. So the other thing that it's taught me too is if the worst thing that happens to us is we're escorted to heaven by angels and all of our loved ones' spirits are there and our pet spirits are there. If that's the worst thing that can happen, okay, that lets me enjoy life and take risks that perhaps I wouldn't have taken before when I would be worried about, well, you got to do it this way, or you're going to burn for eternity. I stole a cookie out of the cookie jar when I was 5. Oh, Lord, I'm going to be burning because I, was a thief. That's stuff it doesn't have any power over us when we understand really what's happening. That's why I give away so many of these books, because I think this stuff should be taught in the schools. There's scientific stuff that validates it and it just gives so much comfort to everybody that has the opportunity to learn this material.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much for explaining that. I mean, one more time, I'm going to place a link to your website in the show notes of this episode. So I encourage everyone to, get the book if they're curious to know all of these phases. It's all documented in your book. Yes. I would like us to talk a little bit about intuition again, because one thing that's coming from me also is that sometimes to be able to connect to the spirit world, to be able to be much more deeper in our spirituality, we have to remove fear and also connect with our intuition too and be on that high frequency. So I just like to know how we could get rid of fear and, trust that, yes, we are truly connected to our intuition.
I have a technique that Spirit sent to me several years ago, and I call it the 2-minute rule, and it works great. Here's how it goes. When we have a thought that feels badly, it's always based in fear. Anything that feels bad, anger, jealousy, boredom, grief, actual fear, it's all based in fear. The key is it a real fear or a fake fear? Fear is a low vibration. Spirit doesn't communicate on the low vibration frequencies. I call that the I feel crappy channels. You feel bad, feel crappy. Spirit's not there because spirit's such a high vibration. So the key is we want to be able to tell the difference between what's a real fear and what's fake fear, because the body doesn't know any differently. And what happens is when we have a fear, Toby, we go into fight or flight. It's an autonomic nervous system response. And what happens is our cortisol levels go up, our norepinephrine levels go up. We feel stress. Our heart races, right? What's happening? The blood from our brain is draining into our heart and our extremities so we can run away from whatever the perceived fear is. And we lose clarity. We can't think clearly. And that's when we all go in that black hole of what ifs. Well, if that happens, then that's going to happen. Then that's going to happen. Then that's going to happen. And it's all bad. And we're going to end up homeless and starving and die, on the street. Really? Because you're running late for an appointment? Probably not. So how we discern between the two is we just ask, when we have a thought that feels bad, you ask in your head or aloud, is this going to kill me in the next 2 minutes? Called the 2-minute rule. It's a yes or no answer. If you're standing in the road and there's a truck headed towards you, get out of the road before the truck runs you over. Could that kill you in the next 2 minutes? Yes. This is a yes or no answer in this game, in this technique. Now, you're running late for an appointment. You're going into fight or flight. Body doesn't know any differently between there's a truck that's going to run me over and I'm running late for an appointment. Still feels the stress. So when you're feeling stressed about something that isn't going to kill you, you just ask, is this going to kill me in the next 2 minutes if I'm running late for an appointment? No. And that keeps you out of fight or flight, and it lets you have clarity in your thoughts. It's really remarkable how well it works. And the beauty with this is it's free. It's convenient. It works anywhere your brain is, and your brain's usually with you wherever you are. And you can use it unlimited times in any situation. It works great. So I have made it a habit over the years, Toby. And if I have a thought that feels badly, I'll just ask myself, is this going to kill you in the next 2 minutes? If your toothbrush broke? No. And it keeps me out of fight or flight. And then I'll usually laugh at myself and I'll say, oh, for God's sakes, Ryan, quit being such a drama queen. And what's laughter? Joy, high vibration. And also curiosity, as I mentioned before, is a high vibration. So what's happening is you're automatically raising your vibrational level and spirit can communicate with you. Okay, well, if you're stuck in traffic and you're going to be late for an appointment, instead of panicking and going into fight or flight, what can you do? Your brain's going to say, well, you can call them. You can see if you can schedule another appointment. You can see if they'll wait for you. You can take action on things from a clear mind perspective instead of being in a panic. 2-minute rule is great. Works great.
I'll start using that also for myself, like 2 minutes rule. Ask myself a yes or no question. Will this kill you if it doesn't happen in the next 2 minutes?
And the key is in the next 2 minutes. It's going to kill me in the next 2 minutes. And it's not, no, but... because then you're using your imagination to envision things you don't want to happen. If you're going to use your imagination for something, envision things you do want to happen. Because our thoughts create our reality. We attract what we think about. And back to that attention intention. Where's your attention? Is your intention going to be, I'm going to make it in time for this appointment? Or is your intention with your thoughts, oh my gosh, if I don't make this doctor's appointment, then they won't be able to see me for 9 months. And what if something's really wrong with me and then I'm going to die? Seriously? No. Chances are negligible, if at best, that's going to happen. But that's where our brains go. We all do it. So this is a great technique. Little kids get this too, Toby. You teach this to a little kid, it's an amazing problem-solving exercise, and they understand it right away.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, I like that. Thanks so much for sharing that. 2 minutes rule, yes. So, Julie, most of our listeners come from diverse faith traditions. I myself, I'm a Christian. So I'd just like to know, how has your spiritual perspective evolved from traditional Christianity to the broader worldwide view that you hold today?
They all talk about the same thing. They all have angels, every culture. I was raised Catholic, 12 years Catholic schools. I call myself a cafeteria Catholic. I take what I like and I leave what doesn't make sense to me. It's kind of like you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You want to keep the good stuff. And there's lots of good stuff there. I was taught as a little child about angels and saints and the Holy Spirit. And so it gave me a platform from which to dive off into this spirit thing. But every culture, every religion has spirituality in it. It talks about angels and, the Eastern cultures, their deceased loved ones, are their ancestors. And there's the Jade Emperor, who's a spirit who is advising people. And there's Lao Tzu, who's channeling. And then, in
Yeah.
Christianity, you got God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit. They all have some semblance of it. And the ones that I find the most interesting, Toby, are the ancient pagan religions, or cultures, I guess, less more culture than religion, like the Celts and the Druids and the Aboriginal people in Australia, the Nordsmen. The whole Scandinavian culture has lots of spirituality in it. All the indigenous cultures all have spirituality in them. They've got animal spirits. They've got the medicine man that's communicating with the spirits to help heal somebody. Every culture has it. It's all the same thing. It's just like going to get an ice cream cone. They got 50 different flavors. What flavor do you like? Choose one. It's all ice cream. It's just different flavors.
Yeah. So what do you wish more people understand about death, angels, and the afterlife?
That we're all surrounded by angels and the spirits of deceased loved ones and pets as we're dying. And then we're with all of them when we get to heaven. Everybody goes to heaven.
Yes, that's a message of hope. We are heaven. Yes, I want to go to heaven.
Yeah.
Julie, it has been a blessing speaking with you. If you could leave our listeners with one lasting message about life, love, and what lies beyond, like we're all going to heaven, what would it be?
That we all have the ability to communicate with spirit to give us guidance in this lifetime and to give us a perspective that transcends just the human perspective. My whole modus operandi, my MO, if you will, Toby, is to combine practicality and spirituality. Because we're living the human experience. We're not supposed to be with our heads in the clouds 24/7. We're supposed to be enjoying the human experience. And love is our natural nature, love and joy. And if you question it, just look at a baby. Babies are happy unless they need to be fed or changed, or they're tired, or they're hungry, or they're sick, they're in pain. That's our natural state. We're here to live a life of joy and to experience everything that humanity has to offer, because we're a spirit having a human experience. So keep that in mind. It's supposed to be fun. Find fun in anything. Fun's a high vibration. You'll get guidance, and combine the spirituality and the practicality to live a life of purpose and joy.
Find joy in everything. Yes, we are here to live a life of joy and happiness and love. Wow.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. So for people out there who still have more questions to ask you, maybe want to work closer with you, what's the best way to connect and work with you?
AskJulieRyan.com. Everything's at Ask Julie Ryan. I'm on all the social media platforms. My show, the Ask Julie Ryan Show, is on all the podcast networks. We've got 5 channels on YouTube: English, Spanish, Portuguese, French, and German.
Oh, wow.
We have German,
Awesome.
where the shows are all, translated and they're dubbed. And so everything's at Ask Julie Ryan. AskJulieRyan.com is a really good place to start. And my 8th book is coming out in a couple of weeks. So lots to read, lots of fun things, lots of great. I have a newsletter that goes out every week, and that's a question somebody has submitted online, and I answer it. So lots of great things going on at AskJulieRyan.com.
I'll place the link here. Show note of the show note of this episode. You can get to listen to your podcast also, and also get to see the list of books you've written, all 7 of them.
And the free Angelic attendance. Yeah, you can get that on the website too.
Awesome. Yes. Wow. Awesome. Julie, it has been a wonderful time speaking with you. Thank you so much for this. And I appreciate, you shining some light, or a lot of light actually, on, afterlife, spirituality also. Yes, we are all going to heaven, and we should live a life of joy and happiness and peace. Thank you so much.
My honor. Thanks for having me.
If this conversation resonated with you, consider following or subscribing to Mirror Talk on your favorite podcast platform. You can also support the show by sharing this episode with someone who might need it, and by leaving a 5-star rating. It helps these conversations reach more people.
Thank you very much.